After years of selflessly helping my family, I set a boundary to protect my newborn, but mom shattered my illusion of familial love. As early as I was like 7 I remember being the go-to person to help my parents, my siblings etc. It's been 30 years, and it did get tiresome a lot of times, but they are my family and I thought that's what we do. So I helped with everything, from advices, to remembering dates, babysitting, writing essays/texts/CVS, paying for stuff, lending money etc. I had my rainbow baby 3 months ago, high-risk pregnancy that required full bed rest for 4 months, and my city is in the middle of a respiratory virus and flu outbreak. The pediatrician has asked we double down on safety measures. My niece, from my oldest brother, had a really bad throat infection last week and had to be in the ENT hospital for 4 days. My brother stayed with her. I called them every single day, asking if they needed anything and just making sure they were fine. My parents came to stay with me for a week. They arrived 2 days after my niece was released. I told my mom if they wanted to go stay with my brother it was totally fine, but they would have to wait a couple of weeks before visiting my house, because of the baby. Again, no issues and I'd completely understand. She chose not to, but my brother got pissed off when I said we needed to wait a couple of weeks before visiting my niece just in case one of them caught something. Her entire floor was influenza cases and the respiratory viruses. He made a sarcastic comment that we should make it a month then. I chose to be the bigger person and just said, I think 2 weeks is fine, but whatever is best for you guys. On an important note, I've been inviting my brother over for the past month on a weekly basis, but he or my sil are always busy, which is fine. I always say NP, whenever you guys want to come, the door is always open. But the moment I tell him we need to wait a couple of weeks, as per my ped suggestio, then he has this urgent need to see us. Today, Mother's Day, I bought my mom flowers, earrings she has been wanting, wrote her a heartfelt letter thanking her for her help and her love. We decided not to go out to eat, because the restaurants would be packed, which would be a hassle, and I'd be worried about being in a closed space with the baby with lots of people, one of the things the ped told us to avoid at all costs. So I ordered from my parents' favorite restaurant, ahead of time, and everything was good. I went to take a nap with my baby and when I woke up I went to find my mom to show her something cute he was doing and my dad said she had gone out to get the flowers my brother sent her. I told him that was weird, because I didn't hear the buzzer. My dad got flustered and said, no, your brother called my phone and told her he left the flowers with the doorman. I said, that can't be, my building has strict rules about not taking packages on Sundays. If anything is delivered they will call and ask me to go downstairs to pick it up. My dad got flustered again. I told him, if she met my brother you guys are going to have to go to his place. Important to note here, my brother has repeatedly told me how much of a hassle it is to have my parents over, and always says they should stay with me. Also, my dad always complains about not feeling welcome there, while here I always make sure we buy everything they like to eat and try to make them as home as possible, even giving them my bed and sleeping on the sofa. My mom comes back up and I immediately ask her, did you see my brother? She tried the same thing as my dad, but ultimately admits she did, but they didn't even hug. I tell her, you guys need to pack your things and go stay with my brother for a couple of weeks. You can't be in contact with the baby. I'll admit I could have been nicer, but I was pissed that a clear limit I had set was disregarded and they chose to do it when they thought I was asleep, and my husband was out. She started saying I'm crazy, she didn't hug her son because of me and then all hell broke loose. My mom is a compulsive liar, albeit mostly harmless, and extremely dramatic when things don't go her way. I said, Mom, I told you you could go stay with my brother, if you guys wanted to see each other. She kept yelling he just delivered the flowers. If a delivery guy had come it would have been the same thing. How could I know the delivery guy wasn't sick? I said, I wouldn't, but it takes 30 seconds to pick up a delivery and I wear a mask. Also with my brother we were 100% certain he had contact with people who were sick for days. She spiraled, yelled, my neighbors now probably think I'm the worst daughter ever, that it's the second time I'm throwing them out. And I was stunned, so she said last year I had done the same thing. Last year my next door neighbor had a psychotic break and tried to break into my house saying he was going to kill my husband and rape me. We had to leave our apartment in less than a day, and she and my dad went to stay at an apartment my brother had arranged with a friend. There was a problem with that building and they wanted to go back to my place. I told them we could stay the night, my husband keeping watch, but they would need to leave the next day, that they could stay at the Airbnb I had gotten for myself and my husband, and he and I would couch surf at a friend's house. She said she knew I was lying but chose to forgive me. We had a restraining order and my door had to be replaced because of the neighbor. Then she started yelling that if she got sick I would leave her to die on the streets like a dog. Mind you, I paid for half of her health insurance for 6 years, only stopping last year because we had to get a new place and move until we went through the courts to get my neighbor evicted. My dad then laughed and said I only paid $400 and he paid the other half, for a few months. I said I paid what you asked me since 2016. I also paid for his credit card bills for the last 2 months. Their fridge broke, none of my brothers wanted to help, so I got them a new one. Their cell phones for the last 10 years have been bought by me. I paid for doctor's appointments, medicines, trips, you name it. She said money is easy, you wouldn't care for me. Mind you, I cared for my dad for 3 months in 2021 so my mom could be with her brother who was in hospice and none of my brothers wanted to keep an eye on him for that long. I legitimately looked at her and said, "Mom, if it was contagious I would go stay with you and have my mill come here to stay with the baby and my husband." She kept yelling that I would let her die like a dog. I can't even think how I'm going to face my neighbors after the vicious stuff she yelled about me. But I think something in me broke at that moment. They both kept yelling at me and I was just calm, saying I was just asking them to stay with my brother since they had contact with him. They were welcome to come back in 2 weeks. She then said she wouldn't go to my brother because it would kill him to know that I had asked them to leave because of him, even though he respected my wishes to not see us, after literally seeing him 30 minutes earlier. And I said I didn't mind, and I could call him to explain. And she yelled, threatening to hit me, that she forbade me, that I had ruined her life and I was trying to destroy the family she fought so much to keep united. That she did everything for me and I treated her like a maid, that she loved me so much and I hated them and I was killing her and my dad. My dad said he would never step foot in my house again. I told them, okay, do whatever you guys think is best. My husband is coming home in a couple of hours and he can take you wherever you want to go. You have over $200 in your Uber account because I added last week so you guys wouldn't have to worry about spending money to come here. The thing is, I know. My mom, if I had pleaded for her forgiveness, said she was right. Cried my heart out, she would have acted magnanimously and forgiven me. But like I said, something in me just snapped. I feel like as long as I'm doing things for them I'm golden, but the moment I set a limit and stand by it, I'm a monster. I'm tired, sad about my first Mother's Day, sadder about realizing how the love I get is directly related to me being useful to other people. And her partying gift, she left the earrings and flowers I got her on my floor, but took the flowers my brother got her. The icing on the cake for me, the flower shop my brother got the flowers is closer to my house than his. He could have had them delivered here instead of to his house and then coming here. Update 1: My mom had asked my husband to tell anyone that asked that they had gone home earlier because she was called into work, because she knew it would destroy the family if they knew what I had done. I told him, don't, tell the truth, she does this to create even more drama. He said he didn't think so, she sounded like she was trying to protect me. I told him I was 95% sure of what was going to happen. They are either going to go MIA and make everyone crazy looking for them, or she is going to end up in the hospital. And then my dad will tell everyone it happened because I was a horrible daughter who threw her parents out in the streets on Mother's Day. They left my place around 2 p.m. Around 3 p.m. my husband spoke to them, when my mom asked my husband to tell that story, saying they were on the bus on their way home, about 3 to 3.5 hours ride. By 11 p.m. our phones were blowing up, my brothers couldn't get a hold of them, they were freaking out. I just knew they were home and were doing this on purpose. I told my husband, text them saying you are going to have to tell them the truth, because you are going to have the police involved, since they disappeared. My youngest brother had asked the caretaker of their condo, who has a spare key, to go into the house. He said he had and no one was there. I told my husband to have my brother ask him to check again after he texted my parents. Lo and behold, even though they were still unresponsive over the phone, after the text the caretaker went there and this time he saw my parents' luggage in the house. I wish I could say I was relieved they were okay, but what I feel is vindicated. They pull this kind of crap so much that I called this insane scenario hours before it happened. I told my husband to brace himself because I know what happens next if I don't reach out to them to beg for forgiveness. They might even reach to my in-laws to say their twisted version of what happened. What drives me crazy is that, because I spent my life trying to protect them from ridicule, so not telling people about this stuff, diffusing my mom's lies so people wouldn't catch on, they look like great people. So it's hard from anyone on the outside to believe what I say now. For those wondering if this is a regular occurrence, it used to happen more often when I still lived with them. The last time something close to this happened was 16 years ago. And no, my brother is not the golden child, but him and the youngest were failures to launch. They have partially launched, but way later in life. And have a codependent relationship with my parents, because of it. But I was mostly independent since a young age, and that was always a point of contention with my mom. She always resorted to emotional blackmail, and that's hard to accomplish with me. And to be fair, my mom helped me a lot with the baby, and everything was okay for like 2 months. I did start seeing the writing on the wall that she was getting cockier for a few weeks, but I told myself it was just me being negative. She knows I'm struggling to sleep and do everything with a new baby, so she actually yelled at me yesterday, "I'm not leaving because of the baby, you can't take care of him on your own." I told her calmly that I could take care of him, and she didn't need to stay away from her son because of this, as it was only 2 weeks and I could do it.